Hello, I'm Imara. This is Imara Octavia, and you are watching my cultural commentary channel. Today we are doing an Imara's Opinions, which is basically I talk about trending topics and give you Imara's opinions. And then there are trigger warnings for today. I will put the trigger warning on the screen when I talk about the topic. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is Tana Mongeau and Cody Ko. So these allegations came out because Tana has a podcast called Canceled, and she hosted with her friend Brooke. And basically they had been going on like a podcast tour where they did like live tapings of their podcast, and like the audience would ask some questions, and you're not supposed to record while you're there in the audience, but somebody did. And there was a segment, and basically they had asked Tana, who was like the smallest dick that she had ever had sex with, and she was like, you know, don't look at me, but like Cody Ko. And then she was like, I can say that because I was literally 17 at the time.
The smallest you've ever had sex with?
Oh my God, no one look at me, Cody Ko. I can say that. I was literally 17, I can say that.
And so that got on the internet and like makes rounds because somebody recorded that. And again, she was 17 at the time and he was 25.
I hooked up with Cody Ko when I was 17 and he was 25. The situation with Gabby Hanna at a Playlist Live where she pulled him aside and told him like, yo, she's 17. And then we still went and hooked up.
One, she was under the age of consent. They talk about this happening at Playlist Live. So this was in Florida where the age of consent is 18. And also, even if the age of consent wasn't 18, what does a 25-year-old have in common with a 17-year-old? I would love to know.
Quickly.
I would love to know, because I am currently 23 and I would not talk to an 18-year-old. So I'm for damn sure not going to talk to somebody who's 17 years old. Cody Ko, you're weird for that. But what happened was I was kind of like swept under the rug. Like people weren't talking about it that much because the YouTube commentary sphere is a boys club, but we can talk about that a little bit later. So D'Angelo Wallace made a video and now it sits at 2.6 million views. And basically he was talking about the fact that what it boils down to is Tana is unlikable and Cody is likable. So people were like basically not believing Tana about what happened to her, or they were like, who cares that it happened because it's Tana Mongeau. She lies about things. This is her brand. That's why her podcast title is Canceled. And, you know, Cody Ko apparently, I don't know because I don't watch either of them. I've heard of Tana, had never really heard of Cody Ko, but apparently he's a more likable, like, boy next door YouTuber.
A lot of people like him a lot, and they really are like doing any kind of mental gymnastic to just ignore it.
The statute of limitations is over on the statutory rape of, you know, Tana Mongeau based off of that Playlist Live encounter that she had with Cody Ko. So he's not going to get arrested over this, but he definitely should say something about it. Like, I don't know what you could say to make it better, but I know that not saying something is making it look a lot worse. And next we talk about, you know, someone had seen Cody Ko like talking to Tana Mongeau when she was 17, and that person was Gabby Hanna. And so Gabby Hanna was like, hey bro, I know she looks a little bit older, but she's like 17. And Cody was like, thanks girl for, you know, like telling me. Definitely don't want to get caught up with that. And then he still allegedly, all of this is alleged because I guess we can't prove it, but allegedly he still had sex with Tana Mongeau when she was 17 and he was 25. So again, illegal jail, the SVU, she was a victim. But people aren't believing her because she's unlikable. And I've definitely said this before, just because I have dated someone who ended up being an alleged serial rapist, and everyone was like, oh well, you know, I believe it, I never liked him, I got a weird feeling about him, yada yada yada. And I'm like, okay, I love that you're supporting victims in this space, but would you all have supported victims if it was somebody who you like? And the answer, most likely, I know people don't want to say it, but it's no, you wouldn't have supported victims if it was against somebody who you like, because you all show that you consistently don't support victims when it's against somebody that you like or you don't like the victim. But that's just my 2 cents as a sexual assault survivor. Yeah, so we do need to get into Gabby Hanna. The shoe is coming for you, Gabby Hanna, because why were you trying to sell this story of someone's trauma? Like, I don't remember what source said that Gabby Hanna was trying to sell it. If I can find it, I'll put it in the video.
And a couple weeks ago, I got a call from that, can I say it? That Gabby Hanna was trying to sell to them that this YouTuber like hooked up with me when I was like underage. And
but like trying to sell the story about Tana's pain is weird. And so when Tana came for her for that, I was like, justifiable. Yeah. Next, Brittany Broski put out a statement, and the statement was about her support with Cody Ko, because recently she's been doing like a lot of collaborations with him on her channel, his channel, and just different things like that. And so I'm going to read the screenshot, and then I'm going to also put it on the screen somewhere. So it says, "I'm crushed to learn about the Cody Ko allegations. If it's proven to be true, then that's extremely upsetting as a collaborator and longtime fan. I find all of this disturbing, inappropriate, and just flat out disappointing. Brittany, I find this statement disturbing, inappropriate, and just flat out disappointing. What do you mean if it can be proven, or if it's proven to be true? It is so hard to prove that rape or sexual assault happened. So there are so many different ways that this can happen. There can be like stealthing, where how do you say, yes, I consented to have sex with this person, but I consented to have sex with the condom on, and they took the condom off in the middle of the sex and I didn't know. It's just different things like that, where it's like, well, how would you like her to obtain the proof of her being raped? Like, it just makes no sense to me, because I'm like, well, one, you would have to go have a conversation with your accused rapist and say, hey, you basically raped me, and you know that, right? And your rapist would have to be stupid enough to confess and be like, yeah, I mean, I know I raped you, but I thought we were cool. And it's like, so you want the victim to put themselves in harm's way to go do that? Or you're saying that she should have set up a camera and everything because she knew she was going to get raped, and in that case, she wouldn't have been in the place where she knew she was going to get raped. Like, it just does not make sense. And Brittany, I know you have management, and I need you to get a PR person so they can look over these statements and just give something that makes it sound like you have intelligence and empathy for people who are put in that position. So next we are going to talk about Bhad Bhabie. This kind of relates to the Tana and the unlikable thing. So Bhad Bhabie is also known as the Cash Me Outside girl, and her real name is Danielle Bregoli. Again, she got famous for that meme that happened when she was on the Dr. Phil show. Her mom was just like, my teenager is out of control. I don't know what to do with her. And basically the girl, she was like, you can cash me outside. How about that? I did that terribly. I don't know if that was like 10 years ago, but that's basically how it goes. I'll put like clips and everything to get
Catch me outside. How about that?
Catch you outside.
Give context in here. And then after she got famous for like the Cash Me Outside thing, she started to do some music. I literally only know one song by her, which is Gucci Flip Flops, which, I mean, she put a little something in there. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bop or two. I know the lyrics, so obviously I like it enough.
Gucci flip flops, fucking hit your bitch in massage.
Then she kind of became an activist against Dr. Phil and Turnabout Ranch, which is where they sent her. And she was basically saying that it was very traumatic where they sent her and like the things that they were doing to her. I'm again going to insert clips. So
there's no evidence of none of this, and obviously all the staff is in on it, so they're not gonna snitch on each other. All you really have is the kids that are there.
And then when she turned 18, she began doing OnlyFans, and you know, obviously you can do other things on OnlyFans. It's not just sex work, but it is mainly known for the sex work, and I think that is what she was doing. But also, that's what people wanted from her. I hate when people be like, oh, girls just go straight to OnlyFans because they don't want to do real work. And it's like, well, why would I work a 9 to 5 if I can make 50 times as much doing OnlyFans? And it's supply and demand. I mean, I'm supplying what you all are demanding, and therefore, like, this is a transactional relationship. She got impregnated by a man named Levon. I don't know what Levon does. I tried looking it up, could not find anything beyond my basic Google search. So if he does something that he's famous or something, I don't know who that man is. On Keke Palmer, sorry to that man. If he walked by me, I could not tell you who he was. He had the kid March 2024. And then shortly after, so maybe a couple months, not really sure about the dates, she had posted like pictures of her like beaten, and I'm going to post it on the screen so you all can see what he did to her. And she basically followed that up with like a paragraph. All right, so I'm back and I have it pulled up, and basically, so like I said, this is verbatim the quote. I love that man more than I love myself, and it's honestly really sad. But unfortunately, that is real life, and I know the easy way out is to leave, and that's better said than done. This doesn't happen this extreme often, but LV definitely has a problem. He's going to get help he needs, or he's going to get the help he needs. Right now, there's no room for mistakes, and he knows that. Whoever says they are there for me will be supportive of me no matter what I choose to do. Y'all know I give a motherfucker hell, or MF for hell, but there's no excuse for that at all whatsoever. My point in sharing this wasn't to attack him, but it was for him to see what he does is wrong and to take accountability. And then, hold on, and make a real change. So that is what Danielle Bregoli, Miss Bhad Bhabie, said about her man hitting her. I'm not sure if they're still together, but basically the consensus was everybody trying to discredit her and being like, well, maybe he's not actually hitting her, and maybe she's just faking this for clout. And I'm going to insert some clips by some like YouTubers who I like and whatnot to just be like, y'all, what the fuck? Because I am not a fan of Bhad Bhabie by any stretch of the imagination, but for you all to see a victim, not even just a woman, but a victim, saying that this is a person who has abused them and this is how it's happened, and she has pictures, like everybody just has to like show proof that this happened. And obviously, you know, this could have been dealt with like behind closed doors, but there's probably a reason. There's probably a reason why she didn't do this behind closed doors. Like, she is a public figure and a social media person. So if she comes out one day and she has her face puffy and, you know, there's like a black eye or something, and everybody's like, what happened? What happened? What happened? You're going to have to address it. So I feel like she made the choice to address it on her social media. And then I've seen a lot of people just being like, you know, the people who love you won't support, you know, shouldn't just be supporting you no matter what. It's like, there are statistics about how many times it takes an abuse victim to leave their abuser, and it's usually not the first time. Abuse victims will usually go back to the person who's abused them for various reasons, especially because Danielle, she has a child with this person. Like, there's no way to just completely avoid them like that. So maybe that's her plan in the long term, but she can't do that right now without getting hit with a kidnapping charge. So I just feel like people have no grace to her because, one, she is a culture vulture. She is a culture vulture, black people, and she had been for a long time. I'm not sure if she's still doing that, but that is how she got famous. If a black girl were to have gone on Dr. Phil and been like, cash me outside, everybody would just be like, oh, well, that's just another ghetto black girl. But because she's not black, it added novelty and it was desirable because people love like feisty Latinas and everything, but no one wants the ghetto black girl. So we can talk about that, but we can also, two things can be true at the same time. We cannot like Danielle Bregoli because of her culture vulture ways, but we can also believe her and other victims when they come forward with abuse allegations. I mean, I just feel like that's just simple math. Like, we can do both at the same time. After Danielle Bregoli had like put out that statement about her man or whatnot, Krishan Rock had like tweeted support of her, and I just have to say it. So Krishan and Blueface are in jail right now for assault related charges, and not for assaulting each other, but like different people. But I'm like, y'all are also like infamous for like knocking the Mario coins out of each other. So I'm like, Miss Krishan, like, I don't want to say why do you have a stance on this, because you can obviously see that domestic violence and abuse is wrong, but I'm like, do you not see that it's wrong with you and Blueface? And this time now we are moving forward. The presidential election. I was going to say that it might sound radical to say this about the presidential election, but I don't think it's radical to say it now. I don't want Trump and I don't want Biden either. I don't want either of them. To be honest, like, we're picking, when everybody's like, but who's the lesser of the two evils? And I'm like, is that what democracy has come down to? Like, choosing who's not the worst person in your personal opinion? Because they look like two sides of the same coin to me. They look like the same, like the two sides of the same coin. And I don't know. I'm like, what needs to happen for American politics to actually come up with a good president? Because in my personal opinion, I'm not sure if this makes me sound like a socialist or a communist, but like, I do not think you can be the president of the United States without being a terrible person. I think that all of them are war criminals. You can't tell me that one single president of the United States was an amazing person. You can't tell me that they were a good person. Like, all the decisions that they have to make on behalf of the back of this country, I'm like, no, you're a bad person. And people will be like, oh, but you're black. What about Obama? I think Obama was a bad person and a war criminal too. Sorry. Yeah, yikes. What's next? American Pride for the Olympics, but sad that we need to vote. I think it's so funny that the Summer Olympics happens every year, that we have the presidential election in the United States. But I'm just like, I think it's so funny that everyone in the US will like root on the athletes and will be like, USA.
Just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine.
Love Simone Biles. Love Sha'Carri. Can't think of some other Olympians off the time. Katie Ledecky. Love her. But then when it comes to having to vote, it's like, boo, I don't want to vote come November. But also, you all should be voting different stages. Like, you should not only be voting in the presidential election. I'm going to say it again for the people who want to pretend like they're deaf to me. You should not only be voting in the presidential election. There are other elections that you should be voting for that are closer to home in your state, that impacts you more than the presidential election. Next, Amber Rose. I am pretty sure, I don't like Jocelyn Hernandez. I've seen a couple of episodes of, what is it, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I might have seen 5 episodes max of Love and Hip Hop. But I do not like Jocelyn. Like, one, she was playing in that girl's face when it came to like her man, and that man was playing in her face, but we're not going to get into that. I can't be like, oh, well, Jocelyn's a homewrecker. That man gave her the key and said, welcome to my crib. So we can get into that later. But when she was reading Amber Rose,
You're not white though. You're black.
My father is white though.
Okay, but to me, your mother's.
But that's not
black.
about you. It's about me. That's the whole point.
You mix like me. You mix like. You know what's your problem? Your problem is that you really want to be a white girl. Let's just get down to the point.
Jocelyn.
No, Professor. Let's get down to the point.
Jocelyn.
Your problem is that you really don't even want to be black.
And Amber has taken a page out of the Kanye West playbook. I'm not sure. Well, just plenty of people remember when Kanye West was like in his like political era and he was supporting Donald Trump and he was the black face for Trump. But Kanye was going so hard for Donald Trump. And now that person is Amber Rose. And I think it's so weird that they both have a connection to each other. And I don't know. But Amber Rose does not identify apparently as a black woman, but that you could say the same thing about Tyla, except Amber Rose is American, and I'm not sure if she considers herself a mixed woman or even a woman of color. I'm not sure what Amber Rose like considers herself, but I do know that she's masquerading around for the Trump party as the voice of black women. And if you don't identify as a black woman, like, why are you speaking for us? If you want to vote for Trump and you want your supporters to like rally behind you, that's cool, that's fine.
To say, if you are black and you're standing in it, stand in it in all shade.
Next, we got to talk about the Trump assassination attempt. I kind of think it was staged, but also I'm just like, I'm confused what Secret Service was doing that an armed gunman got this close to a former president. I mean, I don't think it's radical to be like, sorry he missed, but like, were you not on the rifle team? I saw an interview from someone who knew him in high school, and they were like, yeah, he was on the rifle team. And I'm like, and you only got this man's ear? Like, come on. You were in close enough range. That's all I'm going to say. The picture of Donald Trump going around where people were like, that's a cold ass picture, I'm gonna vote for him now. Or they were just like, I'm going to vote period now, and it's going to be for him. I was like, wait, you weren't gonna vote? The response from Obama, let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I found what Obama posted on Twitter, because I'm not calling that X, sorry, but he said, there is absolutely no place for political violence in our democracy. And I just have to say, I find that laughable. If it had been from the Republican Party, I would have found that laughable. If it's from the Democratic Party, I would have found that laughable, because our democracy is built on political violence and perpetuating it. Atrocities are still happening in Palestine right now. Let's not forget that. So I just feel like, again, I believe that every U.S. president has been a war criminal. I'm sorry. But like, our democracy is built off of political violence. The Republican National Convention and the Grindr Glitch. And somebody was like scrolling through Grindr at the convention, and I was like, why are you at the Republican National Convention? But, you know, they were scrolling through Grindr and everybody was like 0 feet away, 0 feet away, 0 feet away, 0 feet away. And I was just like, ooh, the girls it's girling. And like, all of them want to be like, I'm against it. And I do hate the rhetoric that people who are, you know, like, who don't like gay people or are homophobic are secretly gay. Like, I just don't enjoy that. But I'm like, that's what it's giving right now. We are going to talk about breaking in the Olympics. When I saw a post on Instagram and it was talking about like different states and like the athletes from there, and then they were talking about breaking, I was like, what the hell are they talking about breaking? It's break dancing, it's b-boying, it's b-girling. And I was like, who asked for this? In other Olympic news, they were talking about like the uniforms, and it was like, who has the best uniform? Mongolia and Haiti were eating to devour, and then they had the nerve to put France up there, and France looks like ill-fitting flight attendant uniforms. I said, you didn't have to embarrass them like that. We actually could have went without this. Paris is usually known for like fashion, and this is not giving that. We're going to talk about the green dress, chunky wedge lady talking about girls don't get dressed up for the club like they used to. And y'all not wearing heels and dancing on the couch.
I don't know what's happening to club culture, but the girlies are not wearing heels in the clubs anymore. And as a 34-year-old, I know I don't look my age, but as a 34-year-old, do we need to come out of retirement and teach the girls how to wear heels?
And ma'am, she started off the video with saying, you know, I'm 35, but I know I don't look it. And it was like, what is the problem that people have with looking their age? I'm like, ma'am, you look 35 and you look a good 35. I'm not saying that that's bad, but you look 35. Like, every single bit of it, you look like you know what a VHS is. Then everybody thought that the heels was gonna eat down, and the heels were not eating down.
Just something about a cute little heel, you know? You just we gotta figure it out. We gotta bring heel culture back to the clubs, because
those thick strapped wedges, and like, the girls ain't been with the wedges in forever. People were making fun of the block heel that she was wearing, and I don't even think that it was the block heel part that was ugly. It was the front part.
And the shoes that she gave me were not something that I would particularly buy for myself. They were old maiden type of shoes.
And like the green dress that she was wearing it with. But again, ma'am, you are 35, still going to the club, talking about, oh, we gotta wear heels and dresses and we gotta dress up for the club. Like, for her to just fix her mouth and say that, people been clowning her up and down that TikTok timeline. Like, I'm gonna insert the TikToks in here.
There's nothing better than a cute stiletto heel. You know, we gotta bring club culture back.
She'll wear whatever shoes she wants to the club, and you do the same.
You see the outfit, bitch, killing you hoes.
Because the amount of flats and sandals that I saw is just like, part of the thrill of going to the club is dancing on the couch in your heels.
and I cackled, I laughed, I kikied, I teeheed, I ha-ha, I guffawed. But yeah, sorry ma'am, your take, it was just too funny, and the fit wasn't fitting the way it needed to when you was making the point that you were. My sister, like, she thought that people would agree with her, and I'm like, they might agree with her that you should be wearing some heels to the club and that you should look cute when you going out, but like they didn't even get to that because they were too busy clowning. They were clowning the shoes. I mean, some people were like clowning the way she looked because she was like, I don't look 35. It was like, but you do. But
and as a 34-year-old, I know I don't look my age, but as a 34-year-old,
I didn't see a lot of like clowning her for that. It was just like, girl, you look your age, and that's fine. Those are all of my opinions. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for coming back to my channel. It's probably going to flop, but I hope you are having an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Can you hear me? Check 1.
You gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that.
That's what that is. Looking directly into the camera, serving a cunt. Let's see how this is.